NBC Sports. Brings you the second game of the 1968 World Series. The Detroit Tigers versus the St. Louis Cardinals. Brought to you by
Chrysler Canada Limited and the Dodge, Plymouth, Roots, and Simca dealers who sell the quality engineered cars and trucks by Chrysler.
By the more than 1,350 branches in Canada of the Imperial Bank of Commerce, and by Gillette, makers of new Right Guard antiperspirant in the silver can.
the Gateway Arch again. Bush Memorial Stadium, St. Louis, the capacity crowd for Game 2. A bright sun has just broken through. However, it's about 20 to 25 degrees cooler than yesterday. The temperature right now as we approach game time is 60 degrees in St. Louis, and some of the fans have light coats or top coats on in the stands. But it still should be a fine day for baseball. And, of course, as you all know, we have a right-hander, Nelson Briles, pitching for the Cardinals today, and a left-hander, Mickey Lolich, going for the Tigers. I'm Kurt Gowdy of NBC Sports. This is Harry Carey, the voice of the St. Louis Cardinals, and our wide-ranging shortstop, Tony Kubek, will be down in the stands and along the dugouts for you as we report this game. Well, the Tigers are glad Game 1 is over. And as they all said yesterday in tribute to Bob Gibson, no club, nobody could have beat Gibson yesterday, as good as he was. And also, the Tigers feel they'll be much more relaxed today. And Harry Carey, I think they do feel that they had some butterflies yesterday, and today they won't be as over-anxious, many of them playing in their first World Series game yesterday.
That's true. They had to have a little bit of an effect on them. The Detroit Tigers proved their worth through the American League season, and it was their first game yesterday. I know Cardinal scouting reports, Kurt, referred to Mickey Lolich as the pitcher that's so made with the kind of stuff that he has to give the Cardinals the most trouble. He, being a southpaw, will counteract the left-handed hitting strength of the Cardinal lineup with Brock and McCarver, and of course it keeps Roger Maris out of the lineup as Ron Davis will be playing right field. So the Cardinals have success during the season against left-handers, but against a good southpaw like Mickey Lolich, the Detroit Tigers, who I'm sure would be happy with an even break in the two games here in St. Louis before returning to their own ballpark in Detroit for the next three games, know that this is the one they have to win.
All right, Harry, and right now, let's go down to the field. We're going to have the introduction of today's starting lineup. First of all, Harry, take the fans around the ballpark again.
All right, Kurt, we talked about it yesterday. The distances, of course, are uniform. Left field line, 330. Right field line, 330. 386 in each alley, and 414 straight away. As you see, and as you can tell, it'll be another capacity crowd, of course, of almost 55,000 paid. We had the biggest crowd ever to see a baseball game here yesterday. The band out in center field, the usual bunting and flags that make the World Series one of the most colorful events of all sports are all in evidence here. There's Nelson Briles, you see, getting ready, the right-hander, and across the way on your split screen, the left-hander Mickey Lolich of the Detroit Tigers.
Mickey Lolich, winner, the number 2 winner on the Tiger staff this year. And for the second year in a row, he had a strong final 6 weeks of the season. He's an excellent strikeout pitcher, averaging over 8 strikeouts per game in 1968. Nelson Briles was the number 2 winner on the Cardinals. He won 19. 25-year-old right-hander, lives in Carmichael, California. This is his second series start. He pitched a 5-2 complete game over the Red Sox in the third game of the 1967 series. A good control pitcher.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Here are the lineups for Game 2 of the 1968 World Series. First, the Detroit Tigers. Here is the manager of the Tigers, Mayo Smith. Batting first and playing second base, number 3, Dick McCullough. Batting second and playing shortstop, number 24, Mickey Stanley. Batting third and playing right field, number 6, Al Kaline. Batting fourth and playing first base, number 25, Norm Cash. Batting fifth and playing left field, number 23, Willie Horton. Batting sixth and playing center field, number 5, Jim Northrup. Batting seventh and catching, number 11, Bill Freehand. Batting eighth and playing third base, number 8, Don Wirt. Batting ninth and pitching, Mickey Lolich, who is warming up in the bullpen. Here are the remaining players and coaches of the Detroit Tigers. And now for the St. Louis Cardinals, here is manager Red Schoendienst. Batting first and playing left field, number 20, Lou Brock. Batting second and playing second base, number 25, Julian Javier. Batting third and playing center field, number 21, Kurt Flood. Batting fourth and playing first base, number 30, Orlando Cepeda. Batting fifth and playing third base, number 18, Mike Shannon. Batting sixth and catching, number 15, Tim McCarver. Batting seventh and playing right field, number 14, Ron Davis. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, number 27, Dal Maxwell. Batting ninth and pitching, Nelson Riles, who is warming up in the bullpen. Here are the remaining players and coaches of the St. Louis Cardinals. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem, which will be played by Dick Renner's band and will be sung by St. Louis entertainer, Mr. Marty Bronson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket red glare, the guns bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Both clubs back in their dugouts. In a moment, the umpires will be moving out for the pregame meeting. Early stiff wind today. Right now it's blowing from home plate out towards second. It's a batter's breeze. The color guard, the band being cleared off the field in the center field area. The bullpen personnel are moving. The Cardinals down to the right center field bullpen and the Tigers to the left center field bullpen. And so the Tigers, who will be going home to open in Detroit Saturday, are hoping to get a split as they leave here. They'll be satisfied with that. And the Cardinals are hoping to have the big jump as they go on to Detroit. We'll see how it all comes out. This second game of the 1968 World Series is being brought to you from St. Louis as the Tigers meet the St. Louis Cardinals.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, feel confident. Stay dry with new Right Guard Antiperspirant, a completely new product from Right Guard. Right Guard Antiperspirant is a new defense against perspiration. It contains a tested agent that checks perspiration wetness. Feel confident. Stay dry. Get new Right Guard Antiperspirant in the silver can.
Give me a dozen lemon limes.
What?
Lemon limes.
Look, I can give you lemons or limes, but there's no such thing as a lemon lime.
No? Well, what do you call this? Gillette Foamy with lemon lime. Oh, smell it. It's not sweet like plain lime. The lemon keeps it tangy. See that? Gillette Foamy with lemon lime. Now could you give me a dozen lemon limes?
Sure, mister. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Players assigned to the second game of the series. Jim Honeychick of the American League will be behind the plate. Stan Landis of the National League's at first base. Bill Kinnaman of the American League's at second base. Doug Harvey of the National League at third. Bill Heller of the American League will umpire the left field foul line. And Tom Gorman, who was behind the plate yesterday, will be umpiring the right field foul line. Red Schoendienst, the manager of the Cardinals, Mayo Smith, the manager of the Tigers. They exchange the batting orders. And we pause briefly for station identification. The honor of throwing out the first ball goes to a Hall of Famer and a former great St. Louis Cardinal player, Joe Medwick. Harry Carey.
Yes, there he is, about to throw out the first ball. He was just voted into the Hall of Fame. He tosses the ball to Tim McCarver. There's Gussie Bush next to him there, along with the Commissioner of Baseball, William Eckert. Just one more for the cameraman, Kurt. What a great right-handed hitter he must have been. Joe Medwick. And I imagine the older Tiger fans will remember the World Series of 1934 when Medwick was one of the participants in quite a tumultuous scene.
Now, once again, the batting orders. You're keeping score along with us. For the visiting Tigers, leading off will be Dick McAuliffe at second base. Mickey Stanley's back at shortstop, batting second. Al Kalines in right field, hitting third. Norman Cash is at first base, batting cleanup. Willie Horton will be in left field, hitting fifth. And the Cardinals are taking the field. Jim Northrup's in center field, batting sixth. Bill Freehan is catching, hitting seventh. Don Word at third base, batting eighth. And Mickey Lolich will be the pitcher. Same Tiger lineup as yesterday, same batting order, except the pitcher. But the Cardinals have changed a bit. They have a new player in there, and also they've juggled their order with a left-handed pitcher going against them. Leading off will be Lou Brock in left field. Javier now is hitting second today. He's playing second base. Kurt Flood drops down to third in center field. Orlando Cepeda is the cleanup man. Mike Shannon, the third base, batting fifth. Tim McCarver hitting sixth and catching. Ron Davis is in right field. Davis in right field today, batting seventh. Del Maxville is the shortstop, batting eighth. And Nelson Briles will be pitching. McAuliffe and Stanley are swinging bats off to the left of home plate. They'll be ready to start it off for the Tigers, and in here to start Game 2 of the World Series is the outstanding voice of the St. Louis Cardinals, Mr. Harry Carey.
Thank you very much, Kurt. Hello again, everybody. All set to go. A beautiful afternoon for baseball, much cooler than it was yesterday. Nelson Briles, who went to Santa Clara University, you get a good look at his style. Primarily a fastball pitcher, a sinker ball fastball. Became a starting pitcher only through the accident to Bob Gibson last July. That was on July 21st. He became the starter after Gibson had suffered a broken leg on July the 15th. And now he has become their number 2 pitcher, as he won 19 and lost 11 this past season with an earned run average of 2.80. Here's Dick McAuliffe, the fine second baseman of the Detroit Tigers. Hit .249 during the season with 16 home runs. A very aggressive leadoff man with a peculiar batting style that I know Tiger fans are very, very familiar with. There's a good shot, and you'll really appreciate his stance. The first pitch of the second game of the World Series is about to be thrown. And it's an off-speed curveball, a little bit low and inside. Now, there's a unusual opening pitch of a ball game, an off-speed curve. McAuliffe, good power. Fastball misses low. Briles is the type of pitcher who gives up a lot of hits. He allowed 251 hits in 244 innings this past season. Hot smash, but right at Cepeda. McAuliffe hit the ball very hard, but directly at Cepeda, and there's one away. McAuliffe ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. Ahead of the pitcher, got a good pitch to hit, and hit it very hard, but right at Cepeda. That will bring up Mickey Stanley, the only man yesterday who had 2 hits. The Tiger shortstop. The only Tiger with 2 hits, Mike Shannon, the Cardinals had 2 for the Redbirds. Stanley. Fastball is in there for a strike ball. There's Wally Moses coaching at first base. And Tony Cuccinello at third for the Tigers. 1 strike, no ball. Fastball low outside. Kurt?
You put their years of experience in baseball together, you'd have something, wouldn't you?
Yes, and Moses is a great outfielder, and Cuccinello a fine infielder. Moses a tremendous teacher of hitting. 1 ball, 1 strike on Mickey Stanley. The fastball is in there. Strike 2 is called. Stanley, and I know he credits Wally Moses, improved his average 49 points over last season. And had a great month of September. 2 strikes and a ball on the right-handed batter. The defense is straight away. There's a fly ball, Davis in right field. 2 gone. Stanley flies to Davis in right. 2 up, 2 down. And one of the great stars now of baseball, Al Kaline. Played over 2,000 games in the Detroit uniform. The all-time Detroit home run leader. He had the best batting average of 287 this past season. Kaline had 1 hit yesterday, a double. Gave the Tigers a scoring chance. The curveball low and outside. Kaline, one of those rare ball players that doesn't know what it is to ever have a minor league uniform on. The curve in there. A sharp-breaking curveball. There's the pitch, Kurt, that Briles has trouble with. If his curveball isn't breaking, he usually is hit hard.
Well, we'll see how he goes then, Harry.
1 ball, 1 strike. The fastball is in there. 2 strikes and a ball. Briles appeared in 2 games in last year's World Series. Won 1 game, relieved in another. Kaline had a good cut of the breaking ball that time, which Riles hung. Got away with the pitch as Kaline fouled it into the stand. 2 strikes and a ball. Riles, born in Doris, California, now lives in Carmichael, California. 4th season with the Cardinals. Ground ball to short. Maxville throws him out. So it's 1, 2, 3, nothing across. We're going to the bottom half of the first inning with no score.
Just look what Plymouth up to now.
The all-new Plymouth Fury for 1969. So big, so beautiful, so fresh in design, it's hard to believe this is a popular priced car. Fury has more comfort, more roominess, more luxury, and behind the wheel, more excitement.
Just look what Plymouth up to now.
The 1969 Plymouth Valiant, built to Chrysler standards of 6-passenger roominess and comfort. The Honest Compact. Fury, Valiant, Barracuda, and Belvedere at your Plymouth dealers.
We go to the bottom of the first, and we get our first look at Mickey Lolich, who won 17 and lost 9 during the regular season. And he did some tremendous work in relief roles as well as starting. He's 28 years old. It was his 10th professional season. His earned run average this past year was 3.15. He is quick, he is competitive, and if he is right, he'll give anybody trouble. Just to give you an idea about Lolich's consistency, in 5 American League seasons, he's won 18, 15, 14, 14, 17. Lou Brock, a popular favorite, of course, in St. Louis, had the only home run of the World Series yesterday. Leads off. Southpaw Mickey Lolich. His first pitch. Swung and he missed. Looked like a curveball. Brock had 1 out of 4 yesterday. In his 3rd World Series. Good fastball. Strike 2. He buzzed that one in there. He's quick. Now he's shown us 2 pitches. One was a sharp breaking curveball for a strike swinging. The other one a blinding fastball taken for strike 2. Swung late. Almost had the ball by him. Fouled it outside third. Kurt?
Harry, he's even faster than he looks in the stands in the press box. He's one of those sneaky, quick pitchers that ball's right in on you before you know it. And he can change during a game. He'll change from a fastball pitcher to a breaking ball pitcher, maybe back again. He changes all during a game.
A good-looking young man. Fires. Struck him out! And boy, that's as good a curveball as you'll ever see. Caught the outside corner. Brock called out on strike. Julian Javier, who drove in 2 runs with a base hit yesterday in the 3-run inning that the Cardinals had against Denny McClain. In World Series play, Javier has been particularly outstanding with an average of .351. Now here's a fellow who, if he could bat against left-handers all the time, there's a wild one back to the screen. Javier hits left-handers much, much better than he does right-handers. There you see Dick Sisler coaching in first base for St. Louis. Joe Schultz, who it is reported will be the manager of the Seattle team of the American League. But that announcement will be made following the series. Javier waiting. Bouncing ball, base hit left field. Javier bounces a single to left. John Wirth, the third baseman, had no chance at all. Here's Kurt Flood. Flood 1 out of 4 yesterday. The premier defensive center fielder in the National League. He's in his third World Series, too. He's the only 300 hitter in the lineup for either team. Javier is tying his shoelace. Could that be a tip-off that he might run? The Cardinals stole 3 bases yesterday. They like to move. Love the batter. Likes to hit the ball to the opposite field. Good curveball hitter. Fastball a little bit inside. Lolich has a whip to his fastball that there is no mistaking. Nothing bothers this fella. He's quite a young man. Javier leads. Started a swing, but he held up. Jim Honachek of the American League behind the plate. Flood looking at his coach, Joe Schultz. 2 balls, no strikes. The Cardinals frequently hit and run in this situation. It's high, ball 3. And a murmur now, a reaction through the crowd as they visualize possibly a good first inning. With 1 out, Javier is single to left, and Flood is out in front of Lolich. 3 balls, no strikes. When Flood started in the major leagues, he couldn't throw a ball to right field. Then he mastered the inside-out stroke. Ball is high. And the Cardinals threaten him the very first inning. Runners at first and second and 1 out. Lolich during the season walked 65 in 220 innings, had 197 strikeouts, averaging 2.7 walks per game. Orlando Cepeda, in his third World Series, second as a member of the Cardinals. Joe Sparma, a right-hander, is getting ready in the Detroit bullpen. Cepeda's never had a good World Series. He was hitless in 4 tries yesterday. High fastball. His composite average in World Series play is 115. Great power to all fields. Curve of beauty in there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cepeda had an off season, hitting .248. Had just 16 homers. But that led the Cardinal team. High fly ball. In the right field corner, Kaline on the dead run. Fine play by Kaline. He held that ball, made a one-handed stab, and then braced himself with his bare hand as he hit the wall.
Harry, he's one of the best at going into that right field corner. Time after time, I've seen him crash in the stands. Here's a slow motion. Watch him now. He was playing Cepeda over in right center, coming at full speed. You see him take that quick look to see where he was to the stand. Makes the one-handed stab right there in the normal season bullpen. and then breaks himself with both hands. But going in that corner on slice drives, there's been few better in the American League than Al Kaline defensively.
So a fine defensive play. They're 2 away. Caught that in the Cardinal bullpen. That is the bullpen during the regular season. During the series, they're out in the runways beyond the wall. Here's Mike Shannon, who started the scoring yesterday and led the Cardinal team during the season with runs batted in. Lolich, he batted in 79, hit 15 homers during the regular season. The curve in there. For Mike Shannon, it's his 3rd World Series. With the exception of Ron Davis, all the Cardinals playing today have been in World Series competition. Ron Davis was acquired from Houston during the season. Shannon had a cut, and it looked like it went around with one hand as if his wrist might be bothering him. I notice most of the ball players now wear gloves when they're batting. The old-timers scoff at that. 2 strikes, no ball. Each of the 2 previous World Series that Shannon was in, he hit a home run. Line drive, Kaline on the run is there. One hand's the ball. And that takes care of the Cardinals with no runs. 1 hit, no errors, 2 men left on base. So at the end of the first inning, Detroit nothing, St. Louis nothing.
Want to buy a horse? Get a Commerce Boots and Saddle loan. Paul got a Boots and Saddle loan from the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce and bought 50 horses. Elizabeth got a Commerce Boots and Saddle loan and bought 16 horses. Claude got a Commerce Boots and Saddle loan and built a horse. You already have some horsepower? Get something for it to pull. Whatever you want, get it with a bank plan loan from the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. You'll find it easy to arrange. Just talk to the people at the Commerce.
Let's pitch one quickly now to Tony Kubek.
Our host here, Harry, for the World Series in St. Louis, Mr. August Busch Jr. Mr. Busch, you must be happy about yesterday.
I couldn't be happier. To me, yesterday's game was one of the greatest I've ever witnessed in my life.
Sir, you've been a gracious host. Thank you so much. Now let's go back upstairs.
Norm Cash leads it off for the Tigers. Swings and pops up. Foul territory, Mike Shannon. He's got it. Cash fouls to Shannon. This game is authorized under television rights granted by Major League Baseball solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. Here's Willie Horton, a big man in that Tiger lineup. He hit 36 homers during the regular season, drove in 85 runs, batted .285. This, like for all the Tigers with the exception of Norm Cash, is his first World Series. There she goes, way back. It might be out of here. It's home run. Holy cow, did he give that ball a ride? That didn't go off the bat. It absolutely exploded. And is he a happy young man? Greetings and felicitations from the Detroit Tigers. And just like that, the Tiger power has shown itself.
This is their ball game, the long ball. When they get the home runs, that's when they've been a club to beat in the American League.
Now Jim Northrup takes a curveball in there for a strike call. Northrup was hitless yesterday. Bryles allowed 18 homers during the regular season, led the Cardinal staff. Northrup is out of the way. Last year against Reggie Smith, first game that Bryles pitched in, he scored a 5-2 victory, but Reggie Smith hit a homer off of that day. Jim Northrup takes it high. Jim had his best American League season, even though his average dropped a few points. He hit 263. His home runs increased to 21, and he drove in 90 runs. Third in the league in that department. Fine, powerful left-hand hitter. High pop fly on the infield. Maxwell is the shortstop waiting. 2 away, here's Bill Freehand. Willie Horton, a tremendous home run high into the left center field bleachers. Where would that ball have gone in Detroit Stadium, Kurt?
I've been in the upper deck in left center, and Horton's hit him well back up there in that upper deck in left field.
Bill Freehand, right-handed batter. There's a curveball that misses outside.
Wouldn't have missed too far from being up on the roof.
He really poked it. The curve is a beauty. So far, with these early pitches, Bryles' curveball seems to be breaking better, is more effective than his fastball. 1-0 Detroit. Now each team is at a home run. Each left fielder. Horton for the Tigers, Brock yesterday for the Cardinals. 2 balls and a strike. Bryles, as you can tell, is stockily built. Played football as well as baseball. Just 25 years old. 5'11", 205 pounds. He didn't mean to swing that time, but the ball hit his back. Foul. Bryles attended Santa Clara University, also Chico State College. He's a linguist, speaks several languages. He's an entertainer, plays several instruments. Struck him out. Fastball got the outside corner. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left. At the end of an inning and a half, Detroit won, St. Louis nothing.
Up Periscope. Bearing 150.
Ship ahoy, you've got Dodge fever. Man, that's Monaco, design 69.
Take a long, slow look. Luxury line of comfort on a 122-inch wheelbase to give you a big car ride at a popular price. Under the hood, there's engine room for up to 440 cubic inches. New Superlight makes night driving super safe. Concealed windshield wipers keep the lines clean as a clipper ship. Inside, you're in command, in first-class comfort.
Dodge is turning up the fever now. Get your cheer for new Dodge fever now. Dodge fever at your Dodge dealers.
The second game of the 1968 World Series is being brought to you live and in color from Bush Memorial Stadium in St. Louis, exclusively on NBC, where America watches more sports than on any other network. We saw a tiger and a redbird that time. And we're seeing him here now, too, with Mickey Lolich, the tiger, facing Tim McCarver, the redbird. He's got a chance to beat it out. Out on a good play. Bill Freehand made a fine play. Scooped that ball up and rifled down to Cash, and McCarver was out on a bang-bang play.
Harry, yesterday, Freehand seemed to be a little anxious, trying to hurry too much. He had marvelous poise on that bunt. He went out. Lolich got out of his way. Grant took his time and really had something on that throw. A fine defensive play by a catcher.
Here's Ron Davis, who had the thrill of a lifetime. He was traded by Houston to the Cardinals, and he never could quite get over it all year long. Because here he is now in the World Series. Get a full cut of it. And playing now, right-handed batter. Strike over the outside corner. He was born in Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina. Lives now in Portsmouth, Virginia. Ron Davis. Curveball is low. Davis hit .203, had only one homer, 17 runs batted in. The Cardinals had good success against left-handers, winning 35, losing 12. Bouncing foul. 2 strikes on the ball. 1 away. McCarver, I don't believe he attempted a bunt more than once or twice all season long. So it was a little bit surprising to see him try one. Got it out in front of the plate a little bit too much. And Freehand, pouncing on it like a cat, made a good play. When I say cat, I don't mean any play on words either. Strike, a fastball. He wanted a swing, but just couldn't pull the trigger. The ball was by him. Mickey Lolich has scored his second strikeout. Dal Maxfield, the shortstop, hit .252 last year, rather this past season. The best season he's had in the majors. Nothing out of 2 yesterday. Fastball high. He led the team in bases on balls this past season, 52, and it was apropos, therefore, that he started an inning that produced runs with a walk yesterday. Foul back, trying to hit the right field. It was Maxfield who walked to start the 3rd inning against McLean yesterday. He didn't score in that inning. But in the 4th, the Cardinals with 2 walks and 2 hits scored 3 runs. 1-1 pitch. Fastball a little high. Riles allowed, as I mentioned, 18 home runs during the regular season. Lolich allowed 23. High fly ball should be an easy play. Northrup goes back. Had it traveled deeper than it appeared when it left the bat, so the wind must be fairly strong up there. 1, 2, 3, nothing across. At the end of 2 innings, the Tigers won, the Cardinals nothing.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, feel confident. Stay dry with new Right Guard Antiperspirant, a completely new product from Right Guard. Right Guard Antiperspirant is a new defense against perspiration. It contains a tested agent that checks perspiration wetness. Feel confident. Stay dry. Get new Right Guard Antiperspirant in the silver can.
Take razor in right hand. Right hand. Now press button A.
You'd think to change your old Techmatic razor into our new adjustable Techmatic might be a big deal. But all you do is take out your old cartridge and put in our new one. It not only has all the advantages of the old Techmatic, but it now adjusts for a closer shave. You also get one other little satisfaction. You did it all yourself.
And now our man around the ballpark, Tony Kubek.
Thank you, Harry. Down here with Senator Eugene McCarthy. But more important than that, an ex-ball player. Senator, how are you viewing this series?
It's been a good series up to now. I think it'll be a good series all the way.
Are you enjoying it?
I am. It's kind of a pleasant change from politics. Not too different, but different enough to make for a change.
Who are you picking?
I don't want to pick anybody yet.
Thank you so much, Senator. Now let's go back upstairs.
All right, Tony, the first batter downward on the first pitch lifts a high pop fly that Javier drifts out into short right center for. Here's Mickey Lolich. He'll bat right-handed. He has tried switch hitting. His lifetime batting average is 113. He hit 114 this past season. So he improved his hitting. Like most pitchers, Lolich concentrates on winning ball games. Through his work on the mound, that's what he gets paid for. Started a swing. The count is even at 1-1.
Harry, we've got a fellow we're going to be watching in Detroit Saturday. When he comes to bat, though, it's a different matter. Earl Wilson. He's a real bomber up at that plate.
Yeah, he's a home run hitter, too. Lolich had a pretty good cut that time, but missed it. There you get a look into the bullpen. The St. Louis Cardinals bullpen. There's a souvenir for somebody up here. Another capacity crowd on a much cooler day. Mickey Lolich. 2 strikes and a ball. A little bit inside. Count is even at 2-2. Lolich had 3 hits and 70 times at bat. 8 hits, rather, and 70 times at bat. Drove in 3 runs this past season. There's a long fly ball. Way back. It might be out of here. Home run! Holy cow! How about that one? Mickey Lolich, with one of the lowest lifetime batting averages in Major League history, has just hit one out of the ballpark. You know, when he got to first base, it looked like he couldn't believe it was going to come back to the plate.
Watch this in this dugout now.
look at the grin. That's what makes baseball the fascinating, unpredictable game it is. You never know from what source. There's Denny McClain. He can't believe it.
Lolich is probably saying nothing to it.
They didn't dare give him the silent treatment as they do sometimes to rib a guy. Dick McAuliffe. Now, if he hit one out, it wouldn't surprise anybody. Detroit out in front on home runs, 2-0. Bouncing ball, Javier. Throwing in time. Here's Mickey Stanley, the shortstop. Certainly that was Lolich's Mayo Smith, the fine manager of the Tigers. In last year's World Series, 2 pitchers hit home runs. Jose Santiago of the Red Sox and Bob Gibson of the Cardinals. That has to be Lolich's first. Slow dribbler might beat it out. Shannon can't make a play, and Mickey Stanley has an infield hit. Shannon, for a converted outfielder, has become quite outstanding on that play. But in this case, playing Stanley back with 2 outs, a swinging bunt, as it were, swinging from the heels and dribbling it slowly. There was no play at all, and wisely he held the ball rather than risk a wild throw. Al Kaline bounced out his first time at bat. Kaline bunts, foul. 1 strike and no ball. Mickey Lolich will be telling his grandchildren years from now all about that tremendous home run he hit. And with every telling, it will increase by 100 feet or so.
10 years from now, it'll be over the Gateway Arch.
Well, we saw a pitcher make history yesterday, Bob Gibson, with 17 strikeouts. And we saw history made by Lolich so far as his career is concerned today. Al Kaline. Fastball low. 1 ball, 1 strike. I don't imagine Nelson Briles felt too badly about Horton hitting a homer, because Horton will hit homers against anybody, anywhere, anytime. but I don't think he's too happy about Lolich hitting one, the Tiger pitcher. You sure never know what's going to happen in a ball game. High fastball. Stanley gave it a fake down there at first base, as if he were breaking. Two balls and a strike. Two out. Tigers out in front, 2-0. Barely missed. And McCarver wants to talk to Bryle. K-line, the Tigers' leading hitter during the season, batting .287. Described down through the years as the perfect ball player. Could do everything exceptionally. There goes the runner. Foul out of play.
The Tigers put on the hit and run, Harry. It'll be Stanley and K-line, their chief men. They both hit well behind the runner to right field.
Al Kaline waiting. Stanley has good speed. A full count here. He'll be going now with 2 out. There he goes. Swung and a high pop foul. McCarver may have a play. He does. That retires the side. So it is 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left. We go into the bottom of the third. Detroit 2, St. Louis nothing.
Just look what Plymouth's up to now.
Meet the beautiful 1969 GTX, one of the exciting Plymouth Belvedere line that includes Roadrunner and Sports Satellite. GTX is all sport, all luxury and comfort. From any angle, GTX is a great-looking performance car at a down-to-earth price.
Just look what Plymouth's up to now.
The sporty Plymouth Barracuda has a look and a personality all its own. A personality you can mold to match your own with a list of options as long as your arm. Fury, Valiant, Barracuda, and Belvedere at your Plymouth dealers.
NBC truly is the World Series network. Not only will we continue to bring you this annual baseball classic, but on January the 12th, 1969, we'll bring you the World Series of Professional Football, the Super Bowl. Then in March, the NCAA Basketball Championships, the World Series of College Basketball, and then again next year, the World Series of Golf. All on the World Series Network, NBC. Cardinals trailing 2-0. Nelson Briles, the batter. Count strike 2 now. His lifetime batting average is 127 with no home runs. But don't let that throw you. He might hit one out, too. The odds are only about 18 million to 1 on it, but fastball outside. Yesterday, the attendance was 54,692, and so is it today. That, of course, is all they can get in here. Struck him out. A good fastball. Number 3 for Mickey Lolich. Here's Lou Brock. Baseball men, in describing the Cardinals, tell you that if you can keep Brock off base, you can beat him. But that's easier said than done. Swung and he missed. Rock each year leads the Cardinal batters in strikeouts. Right. And Lolich with a fine fastball is master so far. He's fanned 3, he's walked 1, he's allowed 1 hit, a single by Javier. Don Word is playing shallow against a bunt. And he was going to try with 2 strikes. And boy, they had anticipated it. And he struck out as he tried to bunt. Strikeout number 4. The position play in the World Series isn't by accident. These teams, it's become quite a science now to scout your opponent in every department. And they know everything about every player, including what they eat for breakfast and what they do in the evening. Javier takes a curveball outside. I don't think the FBI could do a more thorough job than baseball scouts do. Two men are out, nobody on. Detroit with home runs leads 2-0. Strike. Lolich has shown us, as Kurt had observed earlier, a fine live fastball and a good curveball. And he's had control. And when you add those ingredients, it means a pitcher who is tough to beat. 1 ball, 1 strike. Good look at Javier. Sliced foul. That particular strike will indicate to you how quick Lolich is. The ball was to the inside part of the plate. Javier usually pulls, especially against a left-hander, and yet he couldn't get the bat around fast enough and hit it late towards right field foul. 2 strikes and a ball. Pass work. Stanley knocks the ball down. Javier's going to try for second. Safe. That was a ground ball to Wirt's left. It skipped under his glove. Stanley dived, and as he hit the ground, it seemed to jar the ball loose, and it rolled away from him. The scores haven't indicated yet.
The mound, he pitched 1 inning, was tagged for 4 hits. 1 run has been charged to him, and he's responsible for K-line at third and Cash on first. And coming on now is a right-hander, Ron Willis, who won 2 games and lost 3, led the Cardinals most appearances this year with 48. Remember Saturday, 2 right-handers going, Washburn for the Cardinals, Wilson for the Tigers. Game 3 at Tiger Stadium. Jim Simpson and Sandy Koufax will be bringing World Series report your way. That will start at 12:30 Eastern Time, an hour earlier than it has been today and yesterday, just before the 3rd game of the 1968 World Series. Ron Willis, 25 years old, born in New Bern, Tennessee, lives now in Memphis, the same home city as Tim McCarver. How's he been this year, Harry?
He's done well. He appeared in more games than anybody else. His record was only 2-3, but records for relief pitchers aren't as indicative as the games have been in, the innings they've pitched. He's a sinker baller, has a good curveball. He's a converted third baseman and outfielder. He was signed originally as a center fielder, and then they made a pitcher out of him in the Cardinal farm system. When he's effective, his sinker ball is the big pitch. And with Willie Horton coming up first, they want to keep the ball down and hope that Horton will hit it on the ground. They don't want him to get the ball up in the air because they're jumping out of here pretty good today.
At third base is K-Line. At first base is Cash. There's nobody out. Tigers trying to extend their lead to 5-1. First pitch is high and away from Willie Horton. Horton is so strong he can hit a bad pitch out of the ballpark. He'll hit him up around his eyes. He still goes chasing sometimes in the dirt for pitches. A 1-0 pitch. Outside to him again, ball 2. Two balls and no strikes. The outfield sets deep, well over toward left. 3-0. The left-handed batter's on deck, Jim Northrup. Every man's hit safely in the Tiger lineup with the exceptions of Freehan and Wirt so far. He walked him on 4 pitches. Tigers have the bases loaded, nobody out, and Jim Northrup. He was a Grand Slam kid this year. He led the major leagues in Grand Slams with 4, and he had 2 in one game against Cleveland on June 24th. He also hit another Grand Slammer that week, the only player who's ever hit 3 Grand Slam home runs in 1 week during a season. Now they're set up for him. Strike.
Kurt, some of the greatest of hitters have gone through their entire careers without hitting 3 Grand Slammers.
Ron Willis facing Jim Northrup. And he taps it back to the pitcher's leg, stepping on second. Maxwell over to first for a double play, and in the score is K-Line. Northrup does not get credit for a run batted in. So K-Line's run makes it now 6-1. They went right through the legs of Northrup, but very alertly Maxwell out of the bag at second. Comes up with a double play. Norm Cash is now third. 2 down. Bill Freehan has struck out, flied out, and popped up. Breaking pitch away from him, a ball. One nothing pitch. Curve is over, 1-1. The 1-1 pitch. Low to him for a ball, 2-1. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Low for 3-1 now. Downward is due up next if Freehan gets on. Tigers have 2 outs. Cash is at third. One pitch to him. Going after that inside fastball, 3-2. Just got a piece of it. Freehan's been an Iron Man this year. As a catcher, he led the Tigers in games played. gets hit a lot by pitchers. Set a new American League record this year. He was hit 24 times by pitch balls. Here's a 3-2 delivery. Struck him out on the curve, and that's all for the Tigers in the seventh. But they picked up another run on 2 hits, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 6.5, it's the Tigers 6 and the Cardinals 1.
Dodge Fever saves the day. He lost his head over Dodge Coronet.
Dodge Coronet, Design 69, proving it costs less than you'd think to go first class on a 117-inch wheelbase. Coronet, trim enough outside to handle quickly, easily, big enough inside to handle a crowd in comfort. 17 Coronets to choose from, including the Coronet Super B with 383 cubes of standard V8. A wild new way to get Dodge Fever.
Dodge is turning up the fever now. Get your cure for new Dodge Fever now. Dodge Fever at your Dodge dealer.
We pause briefly for station identification. This is Kurt Gowdy with Harry Carey and Tony Kubek. The Tigers now have made some defensive moves. Roy Euler goes to shortstop. Mickey Stanley goes back to his regular center field position. Willie Horton is out of the game, and Jim Northrup moves from center field to left field. And Tim McCarver starts the last of the seventh for the Cardinals. No hits in 2 times, both times grounding out to the infield. Hard ground ball rammed to Dick McAuliffe. 1 away. McAuliffe has played a very steady second base today. Ron Davis has struck out and flied out.
Mickey Stanley certainly hasn't hurt the Tigers as a shortstop. Played well these 2 days.
Davis hits the fly ball out to Northrup and left. 2 down. You know, Harry, we were talking about Northrup's grand slams. The National League all-time leader in grand slam home runs, Gil Hodges, the manager of the Mets, is watching this game in an Atlanta hospital, recovering from a heart attack, and we all wish him well and speedy recovery.
I should say we do. What a wonderful gentleman, a great baseball man.
Dal Maxville takes the strike. He's flied out and grounded out. Gil Hodges will be back heading the Mets in spring training next year. The 0-1 pitch is fouled into the seats down the right field line. Ed Spezio is out on deck, and he's going to bat for Ron Willis.
You know, Kurt, the close-ups that we've seen on Mickey Lolich, he doesn't look as if he's even broken a sweat.
No balls, 2 strikes. One and 2. There's a beautiful breaking pitch around the knees for strike 3. A very easy inning for Lolich. Cardinals are down in order, and at the end of 7, it's the Tigers 6 and the Cardinals 1.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, feel confident. Stay dry with new Right Guard Antiperspirant, a completely new product from Right Guard. Right Guard Antiperspirant is a new defense against perspiration. It contains a tested agent that checks perspiration wetness. Feel confident. Stay dry. Get new Right Guard antiperspirant in the silver can.
10 more blades to go.
5 blades to go.
3? Just 3 blades to go? That's it? I used up all the old blades? Now I can use the new Gillette Super Stainless Steel blade with the miracle plastic coating on the edge. They say it's supposed to spoil you.
The spoiler. We pause now for station identification. This is the CBC Television Network.
Once again, to his left, to his right, shortstop Tony Kubek.
Thank you, We're down here talking to the commissioner's right-hand man, or one of them, Monty Irvin. Monty, congratulations on your new job.
Thanks so much, Tony. I'm really enjoying it.
How you enjoying the series?
Just great. It's a lot of action today.
Of course, being in the commissioner's office, you have to be impartial, don't you? Being a national leaguer, you can't pick sides.
No, we're just rooting for good plays, and whoever wins, it doesn't matter, just as long as it's a good game.
Monty Irvin, thank you once again. Let's go on back upstairs right now.
Don Wirth will be starting it off for the Tigers in the 8th inning. Don has popped up, walked twice. Lolich will be up behind him, and then the top of the order, McCullough. And Willis' fastballs for a strike. Riles, Carlton, and Willis have worked today for the Cardinals. One and one. Tigers had a home run by Horton in the 2nd, a home run by Lolich in the 3rd. They had 3 more in the 6th and another one in the 7th. Cardinals got their lone run in the 6th. Curve is outside to him. Ball 2, 2-1. Mayo Smith, criticized in some quarters, foul ball back, for starting Stanley as shortstop. The way Stanley has played, Smith looks like a genius.
It was a daring move, and it's paid off. At least it hasn't hurt.
Stanley started a big double play there in the 6th to get Lolich and the Tigers out of a jam. Ball 3, but now Stanley's back in center field. Quite a ball player, Harry, that can come from center field into shortstop and go back there again. That's very, very unusual.
Certainly shows a versatility which is not too common.
3-2 to Don Wirth. He's out. Willis' 2nd strikeout. Mickey Lolich. He should get a hand here for his fine pitching today, and he does. He has handcuffed the Cardinals so far. Lolich has hit a home run, hit into a forced play, and struck out. The strike. One out, nobody on. And there's his 2nd hit. Lolich singles in the center. What a day he's having.
Let's check it. Are you sure this isn't his birthday today? He's celebrating something.
That's the 12th hit for the Tigers. The Cardinals have had 4. Dick McCullough, 2 hits and 4 times. We're at the top of the Tiger batting order now. The Tigers are ahead, 6-1. Blown away to him. Ball 1 to Dick McCullough. Lives in Avon, Connecticut. Fastball is through. Strike one. 1-1 to McCullough. Mickey Stanley on deck. A 1-1 pitch. 2-1. Remember, Saturday it's Ray Washburn, right-hander, going for the Cardinals, and Earl Wilson, a right-hander for the Tigers, with Gibson and McLean scheduled to come back against each other on Sunday. Undoubtedly, Lolich for the Tigers on Monday, if they're there Monday. This one will tell it. 3-1. Probably Bryles back again for the Cardinals, would you say, Harry?
That's his rotation in this series.
Three and one. Off walks. The Tigers have runners on first and second. They've had a lot of base runners in this game. Mickey Stanley's coming up now. He's had one hit in 4 times. Playing Stanley straight away. Strike to him, 0-1. Crowd sitting back quietly. Their Cardinals are trailing by 5. Ground ball to second. Javier scooping to Maxwell for one. Great relay by Maxwell to get the double play. No runs, 1 hit, there were no errors, 1 left. And at the end of 7.5, it's the Tigers 6 and the Cardinals 1.
Just look what Plymouth's up to now. Just look what Plymouth's up to now. Driving will never be the same again for you.
Introducing the 1969 Plymouths. Fury. This year it's a whole new car. Longer, wider, completely redesigned from rubber to roofline. Belvedere, our mid-size success car. 26 models, 18 colors, 76 interiors. Valiant, the compact that didn't get bigger, just better. Barracuda, 4 great engines, 3 great bodies, and a torsion bar suspension for true sports car handling. See what Plymouth's up to now at your Plymouth dealers.
Just look what Plymouth's up to now.
Last of the 8th inning, Gagliano is going to bat for Ron Willis, then Lou Brock and Javier. And the second game of the series being brought to you live and in color from Bush Memorial Stadium. Exclusively on NBC, where America watches more sports than on any other network. Phil Gagliano, who played American Legion ball with Tim McCarver, another Memphis boy. Going against Mickey Lolich. Gagliano hit .228 for the year. No homers, 13 runs batted in. Strike one. Mickey Lolich has been a superb left-handed starter today. He's allowed only 4 hits. They've all been singles. 2 of them infield hits. There's his breaking pitch for strike 2. He has walked 2. Mayo Smith, the Tiger manager, Probably in the 8th inning today feeling much better than he did yesterday in the 8th inning. The 2-strike pitch. High with a fastball. Lolich has struck out 7. You know, he's right-handed. He writes right-handed, he eats right-handed, he does everything else except pitch. Right-handed. The 1-2 delivery. Let's see if Cash gets a play on this one. Can't quite. When he was a youngster, though, he fell off a motorcycle, injured himself. And while he was injured, he learned to write right-handed and to do everything right-handed. The Cardinals wish he were pitching right-handed.
Maybe right-handed, he'd have him shut out, though.
The 1-2 pitch. 2-2. He is shuttled in, Harry, the last couple of years in and out of the National Guard is hurting. You know, he goes away on active duty, then comes back.
May have cost the Tigers the pennant last year.
The 2-2 pitch to Gagliano. Wide with that one. 3-2 now. These Cardinal fans are waiting for something to start here. Their team is trailing 6-1 in the last of the 8th. He is shuttled in, Harry, the last couple of years in and out of the National Guard is hurting. You know, he goes away on active duty, then comes back.
May have cost the Tigers the pennant last year.
The 2-2 pitch to Gagliano. Wide with that one. 3-2 now. These Cardinal fans are waiting for something to start here. Their team is trailing 6-1 in the last of the 8th. Three and 2 count. Chopper hit the Word at third. Strong, accurate throw. Word seldom throws the ball away. 1 down. Top of the order, and Lou Brock has struck out twice, has walked, he's stolen a base, and he has scored the Cardinals' only run. Lolich has had 2 good fielding plays behind him. In the first inning, a key play, Al Kaline galloping across the foul line to make a running catch of Cepeda's fly ball. It was foul, but it turned the first inning around. And then Stanley starting the important double play in the 6th. Strike to Lou Brock. Playing Brock to the opposite field. Outside to him, a ball, 1-1. One pitch. Ball to 2-1 to Lou Brock. One out, nobody on. Right back through the box. Base hit into center field. Let's see what Brock does. He attempted 7 steals in the World Series last year. Stole all 7. He's attempted 2 steals this year and has been successful. So he's 9 for 9 in stealing in the last 2 World Series.
And being behind 6-1 in the 8th won't make him hesitate if he thinks that he can get a jump on Lolich.
Julio Javier, single to left, had an infield hit and he struck out. You wouldn't think Brock could get this big a lead, Harry, on a left-hander, but he really walks off there against Lolich, who does not have a good move to first. But his motion to the plate makes it appear as he's making a move to first base. Brock got a big jump on him the last time. A ball.
He's got a rather slow backswing, Kurt. That's what gives the runner a good jump on him.
Watch Brock study him. 1 ball, no strikes. 1 out. Brock at first. There's his move over. The Tigers are ahead 6-1. This is the last of the 8th inning. He's got a big lead. Brock, like Maury Wills, says he prefers running against left-handers, even though they can see him better. He says he can also see their moves better on the mound. Wide lead for him. Lolich drives him back. That's what a player like Brock can do here. It's a 6-1 ball game. Yet now he has everybody stirred up. Whoa! That throw to Cash, and he's in the steal second. And they nearly threw the ball in the left field.
He had him read perfectly. It looked like he intentionally enticed the throw with that long lead, fully intending to break for second as the ball came towards first. And it worked out perfectly for him.
Lou Brock, who broke a World Series record last year by stealing 7 bases, has swiped 3 already this year. We have a 1-0 count to Javier, who's almost been forgotten by everyone at the plate. Ground ball hit to Don Wirt. He looks Brock back to second, throws to first, 2 down. And Kurt Flood will be up. When that ball was released by Mickey Lolich, you saw the shortstop Euler over at second base, and they had a big hole there on the left side of the infield.
And that's exactly where Javier was trying to hit the ball, but pulled it too much towards third rather than sharp. You know, it's with the World Series resuming in Detroit in the 3rd game, I guess one of the greatest base runners in baseball history wore the Tiger uniform many years ago, Ty Cobb.
Two down. Kurt Flood up. Brock at second. Tries to bunt as he did yesterday in the late innings. Foul back for a strike.
A fellow like Brock can sure fill the air with excitement.
Lou Brock has broken one record for stolen bases. That's in one World Series. And he can shoot at another all-time stolen base record. Foul back. The all-time record for most stolen bases in World Series competition is held by Eddie Collins. He played in 6 World Series and stole 14 bases. Brock has now stolen 10. This is his 3rd series. No balls, 2 strikes to Kurt Flood. 2 down, Brock at second. One ball, 2 strikes. The Tigers have 6 runs, 12 hits. The Cardinals have 1 run, 5 hits. This is the last of the 8th. Did you just join us? And he struck him out on that sinking fastball. No runs for the Cardinals. 1 hit, there were no errors, and 1 man left. At the end of 8, it is still the Tigers 6 and the Cardinals 1.
In this remote part of Canada, people depend on the river. And by river, regularly as clockwork, Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce brings banking service to them. The SS Jean-Briand is just one of the more than 1,350 commerce branches in this country. It's typical of commerce determination to make your banking convenient. Think how handy your own commerce branch is. Here's why. Because the commerce has more branches than any other bank on this continent.
Bank of Commerce, Bank of Commerce.
One of the world's great banks.
Left-hander Joe Horner now is warming up for the Cardinals, and already warmed up is Tony Kubek.
Thank you, Kurt. I know you and Harry are working awfully hard up there, but down here, some of the usherettes, and they're pretty, you can see, work hard also. Sherry Gaston, how many Cardinal games have you seen this year?
Just about all of them. I've only missed a couple.
So it's safe to say, I guess, you're a Cardinal fan, and
Oh, yes.
you're looking for them to come back, or you think they'll wrap it up in Detroit? What do you think the situation will be?
Well, I hope they win it at home. I'd like to see them win it at home because they didn't last year. And just all the excitement.
Well, of the more than 2 million people that came to this ballpark, I think you'll agree they didn't all come to see the players. Some came to see the pretty young usherettes. Thank you very much, Sherry Gaston.
Thank you.
Let's go on back upstairs to Kurt and Harry.
Second game of the 68 World Series being brought to you live and in color from Bush Memorial Stadium in St. Louis, exclusively on NBC, where America watches more sports than on any other network.
Kurt, that Kubek sure has a tough assignment, doesn't he? All those pretty young things.
We're going to have a little meeting after the game. Al Kaline, 1 hit in 4 times. Starts it off for the Tigers in the 9th and takes the strike. Kaline had never played in a World Series until this one. There have been other outstanding players who had gone through their careers, Hall of Famers, Luke Appling, Ted Lyons, Harry Heilman, George Sisler, and Willie Keeler. Hall of Famers who never got into a World Series. The man we'll be working with Saturday in Detroit, George Kell, Minnie Minoso, Mickey Vernon, Cecil Travis, Rick Farrell, Rocky Colavito, Ernie Banks. Kaline has his 2nd hit of the game. All those outstanding players never had the good fortune to play on pennant winners. Al Kaline's on first. Nobody out, and Norm Cash has been the batting star for the Tigers. After fouling out in the 2nd, he singled to right in the 4th, hit a home run to right in the 6th, and singled to center in the 7th. He's 3 out of 4. 13 hits now for the Tigers. Tries to bunt, pops it up to Shannon, can't handle it. There goes Kaline to second, and a wide throw pulls the shortstop Maxwell off the bag.
Let's watch the replay. The ball is bunted in the air. Shannon just gets his glove on it. Naturally, the runner, thinking the ball might be caught, Kaline was near first base, so a good throw would have had him. But as you can see, Maxwell is pulled off the bag. So Shannon will be charged with an error.
And the Tigers have runners on 1st and 2nd. Nobody out in the 9th. They're already leading 6-1. Roy Euler is up for the first time in the series. He took Willie Horton's spot in the batting order. The Tigers threatening again, and the Cardinals now are defending against a possible bunt. A ball to Euler, who's had the distinction, the tag of good field, no hit, but an excellent defensive shortstop.
Detroit Ball Club rebounding from 17 strikeouts yesterday to 13 hits today, Kurt.
He makes that third baseman handle the ball. Sacrifice. That's the play on that one. Make that third baseman come in and handle the ball. A perfect sacrifice bunt with runners on 1st and 2nd, nobody out. Over to 3rd now is Kaline. Cash is at 2nd, 1 out, and Jim Northrup's up. Northrup has popped up, flying out single, and hit into a double play. The Cardinals are bringing the infield in. Ripping away at the fastball. Tigers had a hit in the 2nd, 2 hits in the 3rd, a hit in the 4th, a hit in the 5th, 4 hits in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th, and another single here in the 9th. The only inning they failed to hit was the 1st. Strike 2 on a fastball by Joe Horner. Horner had an odd record. He won 8 games, all extra inning games. No balls and 2 strikes. He got him on 3 pitches, north of south. 2 down, runners on second and third. Bill Freehan still looking for his first hit of the series. Struck out, flying out, popped up and struck out in this game. And struck out twice yesterday. They're going to put him on the first base open and pitch to Don Wirt, who follow Freehan. And if you Cardinal fans are looking ahead to the last of the ninth, the Cardinals have Cepeda, Shannon, and McCarver due up. 3-0 now to Freehan. Ball 4, loads the bases. Tigers have received 5 walks today. 13 hits. 3 homers. Don Wirt has popped up, walked twice, and struck out. Ball 1 to him. Mickey Lolich is on deck. He's itching for another time at bat. He'll be talking more about his hitting and his pitching, Harry, with a home run and a single today. Foul back. That's all those pitchers want to talk about, is hitting. And the outfielders are always trying to throw curveballs and knuckleballs on the sidelines. The grass always looks greener. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2-1. That's the lead runner, Kaline at third. Norm Cash is at second. Bill Freehan at first. 2 outs in the top of the ninth, 6-1 Tigers. Three and 1 now. Lolich may get his chance.
If he does, his lead will have increased.
Joel Horner behind Don Wirt, 3-1 with the bases loaded. Ball 4, that forces in a run. Wirt has his 3rd walk. He gets an RBI, and the Tigers lead now 7-1. Slugging Mickey Lolich steps in with a home run in the 3rd. He hit into a force play in the 5th, struck out in the 6th, and singled in the 8th. And he gets a good hand from the fans. Ball 1. He hasn't been as overpowering as Gibson was yesterday, who is, but he's been a superb pitcher. The 1-0 pitch. Ball 2 to him, 2-0. The base is still loaded, 2 down. Carver decides he'll have a talk with Horner. Billy Muffet, the pitching coach, is out. The Bayou country of Louisiana.
Kurt, the Tigers have had 19 men reach base so far today.
Two balls, no strikes. 2 down, the base is loaded. A fastball on the inside corner of the letters makes it 2-1.
And if you want to count the man who reached on an error, that would make 20 men on base.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. Strike 2 to Lolich. 2-2. 2-2 pitch. 3-2. 2 down. Runners will be going on the pitch. K-line, Cash. Or check that. Cash, 3 and a word on the bases. There they go. Ball 4. Woolwich gets his second run batted in. Woolwich has now been on base 3 times. 3 walks in a row. It's now 8-1 in favor of the Tigers, and McAuliffe's up at the top of the order.
I don't suppose the scouting report was right on Woolwich.
I don't believe they discussed his hitting too much. Well, if he holds on in the 9th, he will be the man of the night in the Motor City. And the Tigers return home tonight. Dick McAuliffe is Dick. Ball 1 to him. And Horner is wild here.
That's unusual for him. Control is his greatest asset.
McAuliffe is the 8th batter up here in the 9th inning for the Tigers. Foul ball heading toward the seats. Remember an earlier start on Saturday. 12:30 Eastern Time, 11:30 Central, 10:30 in the Rockies. I always forget my Rocky Mountain people on that time. And 9:30 in the Pacific Coast, the World Series report, and then the 3rd game of the World Series on NBC. One ball, 1 strike. High fly down the right field line. Ron Davis chasing it in foul territory. Still holds on to it. To get the Tigers out. Davis gets a hand for his fine play. 2 runs. There was only 1 hit, 1 error, and 3 left. At the end of 8 1/2, it's the Tigers 8 and the Cardinals 1.
A truck is a truck, right? Wrong. 69 Dodge and Fargo trucks are sport trucks. Here, take a look. New cushion beam suspension. Chrysler took the elastic off the bankroll to completely re-engineer the suspension and steering on Dodge and Fargo pickup trucks. A sway bar was added, springs redesigned, liners added, and a lot more to make 69 Dodge and Fargo trucks the sweetest handling pickups on the road under any load, bar none. Bumps flatten, potholes smooth out, rides like a limousine. And that's not all. Handsome new long line styling and comfortable luxury interiors prove you don't have to be ugly to be tough. Dodge and Fargo with cushion beam suspension. Sport Truck 69. See your Chrysler dealer for Sport Truck 69.
The Cardinals' last shot in the last of the 9th inning. Orlando Cepeda flied out to right, grounded out, blooped the single to left. That scored Lou Brock in the 6th with the only Cardinal run. Mike Shannon and Tim McCarver to follow him against Mickey Lolich, who struck out 8, walked 2, and scattered 5 singles. No balls, 1 strike. Bounding ball by Roy Euler in the left field, where it's picked up by Jim Northrup. Spada has his 2nd hit of the game. That's base hit number 6 for the Cardinals. And brings up Mike Shannon. Flying to right, grounded out, and grounded into a double play. A nifty one started by Mickey Stanley in the 6th inning, when the Cardinals were threatening and had already 1 run in. Gave him the breaking pitch for a strike. Stanley is playing Shannon deep in the left center. And Northrop back deep in left, shading the line. The 0-1 pitch. Another breaking. So that one got away with that one. It hung up there high. 0-2. Lolich has been using a sinking fastball, breaking pitches, mixing them up. He's been moving that ball around, in and out, up and down. And he's much quicker than he looks in the stands. Sneaky fast. Just topped it. No balls, 2 strikes. Well, if he gets this one, Harry, he'll have those motorcycles revved up tomorrow.
He's had himself quite a day.
Orlando Cepeda's at first. Nobody out. Last of the ninth. 8-1. The Tigers are leading. Didn't miss by much. 1-2.
Tigers have a comfortable lead. Certainly will make that third game most pivotal in Detroit Saturday.
And it's going to be Washburn against Wilson in that game. 2 right-handers. There's a slow curve. And strikeout number 9 for Mickey Lolich. Tim McCarver has gone 0 for 3. Lolich, as we said before the game, has been a strikeout pitcher. He's averaged a little over 8 strikeouts for every 9 innings pitched this year. Line drive to left. Northrop's there. 2 down. 1 more out. And Lolich and the Tigers are all even. Ron Davis has struck out, flied out. Our statistician again today has been Alan Roth, and our production stage manager is Jim O'Gorman. So Mickey Lolich, who was born in Portland, Oregon, now lives in Washington, Michigan. Trying to nail down this final out. Cepeda's on first, 2 down. A strike. Pattern following much like last year. A pop-up down the right field line. Cash has room. That's it. And the Tigers have evened the series. Lolich waiting on the mound for Cash to bring him the ball. Lolich handcuffing the Cardinals on only 1 run and 6 hits. Mayo Smith going out to meet him. Tony Cuccinella. There's Mayo Smith shaking his hand. And the final score, the Tigers 8 runs, 13 hits, and 1 error. The Cardinals had 1 run, 6 hits, and 1 error.
This is Jay Dahlgren of Vancouver. She, along with others like Abigail Hoffman, Irene Piotrowski, Elaine Tanner, and Beverly Boys, is a member of Canada's Women's Olympic team. Canada's best athletes compete at Mexico City for the 1968 Summer Olympics in everything from track and field to swimming and diving, from rowing to gymnastics, from boxing to horse jumping. You'll be able to watch the best in Canada match strength and speed against the best in the world as CBC Television brings you complete and exclusive coverage of the 1968 Olympics direct from Mexico. Watch the action on CBC Television, your Olympic network.
Watch the Olympics from October 12th to the 27th.
Back to the star for the Tigers today, Mickey Lolich.
Thank you very much. We're down here talking to Mickey Lolich. Mickey, I don't know what to talk to you about. You're hitting or you're pitching?
Well, I'd like to talk about the pitching. I think that's more of a class that I usually fall in.
We were just talking just a moment ago, and you did a great job, but I think, now correct me, I think I've seen you have better stuff.
Oh, you're right, Tony. In fact, I almost didn't pitch today's ball game. Overnight, last night, I developed an infection in my groin, and it sapped quite a bit of the energy out of me. And I was expected to pitch 5 or 6 innings, then somebody come in and take over for me. That is, if I started for a little while there. I wasn't even going to start today's ball game because I wasn't feeling strong at all.
Luckily for the Tigers and Mayo Smith, you came around. What about your hitting? Let's talk about the home run. I noticed when you got down to first base, you almost tripped over the bag. You didn't know which way to go. You didn't know what to do, did you?
No, I didn't. This is the first home run I've ever hit in my life in professional baseball, much less the major leagues. And when I hit the ball, I knew I hit the ball good, but I didn't know how high I hit it. And I was watching the left fielder go back, and just as I got to the base, I noticed he couldn't go any farther, and all of a sudden I heard the roar come up from the stands. And I'll admit, I was looking at the ball, and I stepped right over the top of first base and had to come back and touch it.
Today, Mickey, of course, the Cardinals couldn't do much with you, but you sure must have some respect for them. Who impresses you? What about their strong points? What about the next time you face them?
Well, I'll have to go along with Lou Brock and his base stealing. I thought I had him picked off that last time, and he sort of outran the ball to second base. So I'm quite impressed with his speed, and I'm also very impressed with Tim McCarver against left-handed pitching. Generally, you find a left-hander has a tendency to give a little bit on me because I do drop down, but he was in there swinging the bat real good, and I was quite impressed with him. And also Orlando Cepeda. I threw a lot of good sinking fastballs, which a lot of guys will swing over the top of, but he hit them right on the button, and he got a couple of base hits out of it and hit the ball real hard all day.
Mickey Lolich, congratulations again, both hitting and pitching. Nice seeing you.
Okay, Tony, thank you.
I'm going to talk to your shortstop now. Thank you so much, Mickey. Mickey Stanley, come on in here. Mick, I don't know, they've been saying, watch out. Play in the 6th inning. You look like you're right at home.
Tony, thank you very much. I think yesterday getting the first ground ball of the game helped relax me a lot. As soon as I caught that and threw the runner out, I seemed to settle down a little bit.
Mick, you know, I was kind of in the same kind of situation with Casey Stengel moving at different positions, but I had experience at short, and I knew the first series game I played in 57. I was nervous as could be and a lot of pressure, and I felt before yesterday's ball game, you must have been under more pressure. I know you were than anybody else in the ballpark.
Well, I was, no doubt about it, I was nervous, Tony, and getting a base hit the first time up in the first inning relieved a little pressure. Then, like I say, getting that first ground ball and getting that out of the way relieved a lot of pressure. I didn't want to wait 4 or 5 innings before I got one, then with runners on and take a chance of throwing one away. So I was glad to get it over with.
Nick, what about the Cardinals? What about Brock in particular? He gets on first base, and it rattles the pitcher, but it also rattles an infielder, doesn't it?
It sure does. The fielder covering, I know myself when he was on first base, I was watching him more than I was the hitter. I was paying more attention whether or not I should be covering the base or fielding the ground ball.
I know I shouldn't be talking about yesterday, but I will just briefly. What about Bob Gibson? Have you ever seen anybody like Bob?
No, Tony, I think he's the toughest pitcher I've ever faced. I'd hate to make it a steady diet facing him.
He's tough. What about today? Nelson Browns has been a top winner for them. He was a little shaky today, but he's a pretty good pitcher, too.
He certainly is. I know I never got one fastball down the middle all day long. He hit that outside corner, and he got his breaking ball over pretty well, too.
Let's talk about the Tigers' plans, rather, for the third game, the opening game in Tigers Stadium. Who's manager Mayo Smith going to go with, or has he announced it yet?
Earl Wilson's going to be the pitcher, for sure.
And he, of course, does what, and what can we look for off Earl?
Well, Earl's a control pitcher, just like Mickey Loich. He's got a pretty good fastball and keeps the ball down. He gets his breaking ball over at all times, and Earl helps himself with the bat, too. You can count on him having some rips up there tomorrow night.
Talking about the bat, Mickey, I think I was talking to Wally Moses before the ballgame. I've never seen a change in a hitter as compared to you last year as compared to this year. You've just changed completely. You're hitting the ball so well.
Thank you, Tony. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of depressing moments, but I think the big thing that helped me is Wally got me to shorten up my swing, short, quick stroke instead of a long, slow stroke.
Mickey Stanley, heck of a job at shortstop and center field at the end of the ballgame. We'll see you in Detroit.
Thank you, Tony.
Now let's go on back upstairs.
All right, it's 8-1, the final score. And Harry Carey, we were talking about the pattern this year, about the same as last year. You'll remember Gibson won the opening game, beating the Red Sox at Boston. Then Lombard came back in the second game with a one-hitter and beat the Cardinals 5-0. Lolich coming back for the Tigers today to get them even, and now they move on to Detroit. But Lolich did the job the way Lombard did it last year for Boston.
He certainly did that. He was an outstanding pitcher today. And I tell you something, Kurt, the Cardinals must know now they're in for a tough series because this is a good Detroit ball club. And as a matter of fact, even in the game the Cardinals won yesterday, you know, they didn't do too much hitting. They only had 6 hits, the same number they got today. So they know they're in a tough series, and now it goes over to Detroit. And one thing about the Cardinals I want to point out that each of the last 2 pennants they have won on the road. They won more games each year on the road than they did at home. So they won't exactly be paying patsies either over there in Detroit any more than Detroit was here in St. Louis. These are 2 good ball clubs. It's going to be a tough series, and I don't know, your guess is as good as mine as to who's going to win it.
Well, a lot of people, of course, you always favor the home park, but a lot of people think the Tigers will have the big edge in Tiger Stadium because of their superior power, but some of the Cardinals, McCarver, Brock, are going to like those short right field seats there, too.
I think particularly that fellow like Cepeda and Shannon, and Javier becomes a home run threat in the Detroit ball club. It's a big ball game Saturday, Kurt, with Earl Wilson and Ray Washburn.
All right, let's go back to Tony again.
Thank you, Kurt. I think my impressions of this, both ball teams, as a matter of fact, you got to look out for Brock. He's going to show them again up in Detroit, but the Tigers have come back. They're doing something they've done all year long, something that we talked about with Mayor Kavanaugh early in the ballgame and during the ballgame. They bounce back. They don't give up. They're runs behind. They've got the power to come back. They did it again today. Looking forward to a great series. 7 games, I think. Hopefully 7 games. I think it's going to be a close one. Let's go on back upstairs right now.
Incidentally, the last series victory by a Tiger team was the final game of the 1945 World Series. That was at Chicago when the Tigers beat the Cubs 9-3, and a left-hander by the name of Hal Newhouser pitched the complete game for the Tigers. And so some 23 years later, another left-hander, Mickey Lolich, wins the next Tiger World Series victory. Well, they're all even at 1 apiece. It was the Tigers completely dominating the day with 3 homers. They had 13 hits, and they win it easy 8-1. It'll be Washburn, a right-hander, and also Wilson, a right-hander, the 2 starting pitchers in Detroit on Saturday afternoon. So now this is Kurt Gowdy on behalf of Harry Carey and Tony Kubek, bidding you good afternoon from Bush Memorial Stadium. And this game is authorized under television rights granted by Major League Baseball solely for the entertainment of our audience. And any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner's office is prohibited. So don't forget to join Jim Simpson and Sandy Koufax again Saturday at 12:30. That's 12:30 Eastern Time for World Series report. And right after that will be Game 3 of the World Series. The second game of the 1968 World Series has been brought to you by
Chrysler Canada Limited and the Dodge, Plymouth, Roots, and Simca dealers who sell the quality engineered cars and trucks by Chrysler.
By the more than 1,350 branches in Canada of the Imperial Bank of Commerce, and by Gillette, makers of new foamy lemon lime shave cream and the new Techmatic adjustable razor. Tune in Saturday for the third game of the World Series over the CBC network stations. For the remainder of this time period, we present a short film titled Windjammer, already in progress.